Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great middle of the week. Okay, it is Wednesday, December the 2nd, the last month of the year. I hope everyone is taking the necessary precautions to stay safe at home. If you need to go out, please remember to use your masks, to use your face masks if you travel in public transportation. Now that the government has permitted children to go into the malls and into other public areas, please be careful because remember that still they sometimes don't show the disease, but they can transmit it. So just in case you have people who might be um, um, in risk, so just take all the necessary measures, okay? But still, it's a good thing that children now can, well, children under 12 can now go out because of like anybody else, they need to relax and unstress because these have been very difficult months for everyone, including the children. So again, welcome to Cada Programa de Comercio Exterior, to our daily lectures. Um, these lectures are for business English and English related topics. Remember that I can follow your questions and any of your doubts through Zoom, but also through through Facebook. Okay, so if you have any questions, remember that I will follow the conversation via Facebook Live, and I will answer as many questions as possible. Also remember that sometimes the questions come with a little bit of delay, so it might seem that I take some time to answer the questions, but I do them as soon as they appear. As you can see, I am following you on Facebook. So thank you. Let's see. The topic of today is going to be developing an argument linking words one, because we're also going to have linking words two on Saturday. For those of you who don't know me or who don't know who I am, my name is Carlos Martinez Flores. I am an English instructor and speaking coach. I am a former team leader from Pacifico University's Language Center, and currently I am an EFL teacher at Mater Purísima School in Miraflores. I hope everyone is having a great day. I know it's a little bit cold, um, but let's make it a great Wednesday. Okay. So today we're going to talk about developing an argument. Okay, what do we mean by developing an argument? Nowadays, there are many things when we are in a business or in a meeting where whatever we say needs to have some fundament. Okay, we cannot for example, if I'm going to tell somebody how to improve or make their company better, I need to use facts. I need to say why the information that I'm giving him or her is a good one. Okay, so I need to have a strong argument to be able to back my opinions or back the information that I'm giving. So giving opinions is not necessarily a good argument. I need to structure it with basically facts. Okay, so developing an argument is important when we make a conversation or when we state an idea. Normally, when we develop arguments, if you read the bibliography, it's going to be related to books. So basically, because normally we use language that is normally related to written English. So the theory or the information that I'm going to give you today, it could be in its majority related to written English, but it can also be applied to spoken English. Okay, so just remember that even though you might read in the or you might see in the slides that it is related to writing, it also has some relationship. Well, it can be totally applied to speaking English. Okay, so let's begin. Developing an argument. Let's fundamental, right? Let's give you argument concepts. The word argument is derived from the Latin word arguer, which means to make clear. Okay, to make clear. An essential aspect of academic writing is arguing and discussing. Remember that um, um, this does not mean um, There is a word in English called argue, okay, and it can be sometimes related to a conflict, but in this case, not necessarily, okay. And the same with discussion, okay, sometimes related to its Spanish counterpart, where it can have a negative context, but no, in the case of English, arguing and discussing is healthy for any conversation. Okay, so this involves proposing a claim and offering a rational reason with help of evidence that strengthens the author's point of view. So whatever I say or whatever idea I have, I need to back it up. I need to say why. I need to say, I don't need to, of course, this I mentioned the word bibliography before, but you don't need to say specifically um, 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 authors and quote investigators and scientists. If you can, great, but it's not the main idea. Okay, basically, it's to be able to give an when you present an argument, um, the possible counter argument should be taken into account. So I need to think on what the other person might ask me, what the people who are listening, for example, what questions they might have, and so how am I going to fundament? Okay, basically, what reasons I'm going to give to make my message valid. Okay, how am I going to prove that what I'm saying is real and it's safe and it helps? Okay, that is what I need to take into account. So an academic argument can be called as an evidence-based defense of a complex issue. So this is totally true. My argument is my defense of what I'm saying. Okay, if I tell you that this is the right way to go, this is my argument. This is my fundament. These are the reasons why what I'm saying is true and what I'm saying is correct. Okay, if I'm saying that something is bad or this is a bad way of dealing with things, here's my argument. This is why this is bad. Okay, I'm not telling you that this is bad because me, Carlos Martinez, thinks it's bad. No, because the facts tell you the evidence. This is the evidence of what I'm saying. Okay, and this goes for everything. Whenever we want to whenever we enter a discussion, we need to have these arguments. We need to be able to, if somebody says, if somebody asks us why, we need to be able to respond to why. If somebody asks for examples, I need to be able to present examples. If somebody refutes or rebuts what I'm saying, telling me that I am wrong, I need to tell him why I am right. Okay, so it's important to develop. So always have these. That's what it says. We need to know the possible counter argument, okay? Because there's always going to be a counter argument. There's always going to be someone who's going to try to test our knowledge or test our theories to see how correct or incorrect we are. So sometimes if a counter argument is stronger than what we have, then maybe he or she will prove that I am wrong. It could happen. This normally happens like in debates, but it shouldn't happen when you are the presenter of a topic, because if somebody is capable of counter argumenting what you are saying and contradict and totally disclaim what you're saying, then you're going to have a bad experience. Okay, so be careful. Always be careful. Always be careful and be prepared. Okay. Now, features of an effective argument. An effective argument is well grounded and supported by relevant data. Well supported by relevant data. The information I'm going to use to support my ideas need to be, first of all, proven. Okay, it needs to be real. I need to make sure that it is real. Second, it needs to be actual. I mean, I'm not going to. I'm not. I will be. I will have to be crazy if I want to argument my date, my information, or my data with things that say 1990, even though in the 90s I was a teenager and I don't think 1990 is too far away. But still, what related to data, 1990 is out of date. Okay, even the year 2000, 2000 is 20 years ago, so it is still out of date. So we need to make sure that our data is proven, it's current, and third of all, that it is of importance. Okay, it is of importance to back my information. Okay, if I'm telling you about the importance of or the relevance of climate change, my arguments need to be related to climate change. It can't be related to politics or can be related to religion. No, because it's not related to the topic. Okay, so first, proven, second, actual, and third, important or relevant to what I am trying to say. Next, presenting an effective argument does not involve mere participation, but also contribution to an existing argument or scholarship in the field. I am not a parrot who's going to repeat everything that that I or prior investigations. Okay, whatever I'm presenting needs to contribute to whatever the topic is. Okay, what I am doing needs to be another step in the fundament of this topic. It can't just be repetition. That's why copy paste is not where you want to be. A fruitful academic argument defends against rational counter arguments promoted by experts in defense of their perspective. So what does this mean? That again, we said that if I present myself in front of an audience, for example, I want to prove that that certain treatment is good for COVID, let's say. Okay, I'm going to make an example. Okay, I want to prove that certain that I have tried out a treatment for COVID and I think it works. I know that in my audience, they're going to try to rebut it. They're going to tell me many reasons why it is wrong, many reasons why they think it is right. And they're in the right to do so. Okay, I'm not saying that they're totally wrong because they have the facts that tell them that it is wrong. Okay, so what I need to do now is change their minds, give them such a strong argument that it will break their thoughts. They will make them think, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way. And if I am capable of changing that, then this is what I can call a fruitful argument. Okay, because I have been capable of changing people's minds. Okay, I have been capable of changing people's point of view. Why? Because my argument was so strong that I was capable of doing this. Okay, so this is what I mean. This is what it means by a fruitful academic argument defends against rational counter arguments. Okay, and if you can do that, then you have won your argument. Your argument was strong. Okay, now let's look at some points here. To evaluate or present arguments in a structured manner, the following questions can be considered. Identifying the claim or point of view. Reasons for supporting that claim. Okay, first of all, I need to identify what I'm going to talk about. Then, what reasons support what I'm trying to say? Whether this belief of claim is built on reliable evidence, that I said before, right? Who is telling me this? Okay, if I am receiving my information from a relevant source, or from somebody who just decided to post something on Twitter or Facebook or whatever social media you get your information. Ensuring a coherent connection between the reasons and supporting the claim, like I mentioned before. Is this information relevant to what I want to say? I mean, is this going to add? If it doesn't add, then I shouldn't use it. Okay. Preparing a convincing and persuasive defense for counter arguments. Okay. What might the other people ask me to try to make my argument fall? I need to think in advance. Maybe nobody asks anything, but that's not that isn't the issue here. You need to be prepared for any question. Okay, if you are going, like I said, going back to my example before, if I'm going to present to you a new method of treatment for COVID, I need to have thought of everything that might be asked to rebut what I'm saying. If I'm going to wait for the questions to start to say, I didn't think about that, then my argument is going to fall into pieces like a domino. Okay, because they will have proven that I have no argument to say what I'm saying. Okay, so again, identify what you're going to say, find reasons to support what you're going to say, make sure that these reasons are believable and reliable, ensure that these reasons have a real connection with what you're saying, and finally, be prepared to answer any questions that might try to rebut your argument. Okay, now there are two ways of argumenting. Okay, the first one is the balanced view. Okay, again, this is where I mentioned before that this is basically related to written English, but it can be totally applied to speaking English. also by only by changing, I mean, some words. In a balanced view, the argument is introduced to the reader, in this case the listener also, with commentary on its relevance and contribution to the field. So all I do is just tell you, okay, this is my argument, and this is why it's important. Next, reasons for and against the argument are presented with conclusive and convincing evidence. Okay, so I'm going to tell you why I think this is relevant. What are the reasons for me for using this? In the end, after summarizing and considering a holistic and rational view of the argument, the author can present his own views with reasons and evidence supporting the claims. Now I will give you my opinion. Now I will tell you why I think this is the best option, okay? So the first, I tell you my argument, why I think it's important and how it contributes. Next, I'm going to give you my reasons for and against. Finally, I'm going to summarize and give my personal opinion on the argument, okay? So it's balanced. I start by being totally neutral and I end by giving you my opinion. But then we have what's called a persuasive view. Here, I immediately tell you my opinion. I immediately start to state personal ideas of the facts, okay? The persuasive view involves a brief presentation of the argument and immediate revelation of the other's perspective, okay? So I'm giving you my argument and immediately I'm telling you what I think about it, okay? I don't wait until the end. Along with this, the author also reveals why what they aim to prove in the manuscript. So immediately I'm telling you my opinion and what I want to accomplish, okay? And what I want to accomplish. Next, I introduce reasons against the introduced argument. Okay, so now I do everything else. Okay, counter arguments are then presented in favor. So this is the same as before, with the only fact that during the whole argument, I'm not trying to present fundamental why. I'm trying to convince you immediately. I'm trying to convince you why my argument is the truth. Okay. So in a balanced presentation of an argument, I present the argument, I tell you pros and cons, and then I give you my personal opinion. In the persuasive argument, I don't think there are any cons. I think it's correct. So during all my argumentation, I'm going to demonstrate why it is correct. Okay, I'm going to tell you why it is important, why it is relevant, and why you're wrong. That's why it's called persuasive. I'm going to try to convince you from the beginning. Okay. Why it is the right way to go. Okay, counter arguments are then presented in favor of the author's claim or perspective, leading up to a conclusive stance that convinces the reader to consider the author's point of view. So at the end, you should be convinced that I am right. Okay, at the end, I should be, in the first one, no. In the first one, it's a process, you know. I present to you the topic, I give you my argument, I start to saying why yes or no, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, I give you an opinion. And then if you're convinced or not, we'll see. But here, no. Here, my purpose is to convince you that I am right and you are wrong, okay? In such argument structures, it is important to ensure that a degree of certainty dominates the manuscript, okay? As opposed to the balanced view, which may often employ hedging. Hedging is when you say, it is said, it is believed, when you don't want to acknowledge total rights to a sentence. Okay, here you're certain. You say this is correct because this of this. This is right because of this. In the balanced view, in the balanced view, you say, well, it is believed to be correct. Whereas here you say it is correct. You know, this is the right way, and that is what it means as opposed to hedging. Hedging is when hedging is a tool that you have in English when you want to say something without assuming responsibility to what you're saying. So in a balanced view, you would use hedging. Many people believe that, etc. Here, no. Here, you're certain. I believe that. My company believes that. Okay. This is a persuasive view. So now that we have talked about the importance of argumenting, what argumenting is, and so on, we're going to go into some examples of um, words that will, like I said, like the title of this topic of this presentation says, linking words, right? The words that will connect your ideas to your arguments. So look at this one here. I want you to look at this reading for a little bit. I'm not going to read it because it might take some time, but as you can see, it consists of 2 paragraphs and you have the numbers here on the left so you can know which sentence I'm talking about. So the question says here, look back at the sentence beginning with although, line number 3. Let's go to number 3. 1, 2, 3, although, right? There are actually 3 separate clauses. Okay, let's read the sentence. Although infrastructure is poor and there is a shortage of skilled workers, comma, Intel has opened a plant in Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, let's read it again. Although infrastructure is poor and there is a shortage of skilled workers, comma, Intel has opened a plant in Ho Chi Minh City. Now, there are actually 3 separate clauses. Infrastructure is poor, okay, in Vietnam. There is a shortage of skilled workers, right? Infrastructure is poor. There is a shortage of skilled workers. Shortage means a decrease. Intel has opened a plant, okay? So we have 3 sentences here. We have 3 sentences, three ideas because a clause is an idea. The writer has used the linking words and although to join these clauses together and produce a more complex sentence. So we went from a simple sentence, infrastructure is poor, there is a shortage of skilled workers, Intel has opened a plant in Ho Chi Minh City. 3 simple sentences. And now we have used and although to connect them into one big complex sentence. Although infrastructure is poor and there is a shortage of skilled workers, comma, Intel has opened a plant in Ho Chi Minh City. With the linking words, text is easier to read. The relationship between the ideas is clearer because if I connect them all together, if I read all this sentence, I know that all of this has to do with one thing, okay? So using the linkers and although has helped us do this. Next, also with linking words, the style changes. It becomes more formal. Notice how we've been saying these last couple of classes. Formality is given basically by the words that you choose to use, by the tense. From usually you should use passive voice or past simple. Okay. Also, when linking words, the style changes. It becomes more formal, typical of a presentation, a meeting, or a report. In an everyday conversation or an email, it will be more normal to use shorter clauses. Okay. An everyday conversation, that means social conversation. Right now, we're talking about presentations and argumenting. When you're talking to business people, to co-workers, to your boss, you need to talk in a formal way, okay? So we use linking words. Well, we use more linking words or more complicated linking words when we talk in a more formal way, typical of a presentation, a meeting, or a report, okay? So this is an example of something that we how the use of though and can change or help us express our ideas better. Okay, now let's go to another example. Let's use this text again. But now, let's look at the words although in line 3, like we mentioned before, but in line 8. Okay, so we have line 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we have but here, right? We have but. Let me use the pointer here. We have but here in line 8, right? And however in line 14. So let's go to line 14. However over here. Okay, we have however. Are they the same? Okay, what do you think? So let's look again. Although infrastructure is poor and there is a shortage of skilled workers, Intel has opened a plant in Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, now line 8. Intel continues to produce chips at its fabrication plants in Ireland and the US, but these chips are then exported to Vietnam. And however, with a population of over 80 million and information-hungry youths filling the internet cafes, there is a lot of potential. So do you think they have the same meaning? We'll see. Although makes a contrast within one sentence, it introduces information that is less important or surprising. It can come at the beginning or in the middle. Remember, although can come at the beginning or in the middle. And it is used to introduce information that is less important or surprising information, okay? It is less important or surprising. Intel has opened a plant in Ho Chi Minh City, although infrastructure is poor and there is a shortage of skilled workers. Notice the difference from the original. Although infrastructure is poor and there is a shortage, Intel has opened a plant in Ho Chi Minh City. So we can collocate it at the beginning, or we can collocate it at the middle. But makes a simple contrast within one sentence and comes in the middle. Okay, so notice. Although can come at the beginning or in the middle, but normally only comes in the middle. There's a trend for writers to use but at the beginning of a sentence to contrast with the previous sentence, but some people think this is not a good style. You're going to find it at the beginning, but don't. I recommend that you don't, okay? So difference between although at the beginning and in the middle, but always at the middle. However, comes at the beginning of a sentence and is followed by a comma. It makes a contrast with the previous sentence or even the previous paragraph. Notice the big differences. Although makes a contrast within one sentence. Okay, so I'm going to make a contrast or some kind of a comparison within a sentence. It can go at the beginning or the end, but is also used for the same, for contrast within a sentence, but it only goes in the middle. However, does not make contrasts within a sentence. It makes contrast with other sentences or with other paragraphs. Notice, however and but make contrast within one sentence. The position is different, right? Although at the beginning or at the middle, but only in the middle. However, normally comes only at the beginning and is followed by a comma. But, however, is used to express differences between sentences or between paragraphs, okay? Big differences. Let's continue. Linking words, okay? Here I'm going to give you some linking words here. For example, the linking word but. We don't always need to use but. There are other words that we can use. For example, we can use and to express that an idea is equal. We can use but to express that an idea is contrary. Yet to express that something is more surprising. Okay, so to express a consequence or to express an option and nor to express a negative option. Okay, so these are some examples of words similar to but and to equal for equal ideas, but for contrasting ideas, yet for surprising ideas, so for consequences or for options nor for negative options. Okay, now some other examples of linking words. Now some words that are similar to although. See, here are some, instead of saying although, here are some words that you can use. You can use although, though, even though, in spite of the fact, and they are very similar. We use this for a formal style of English, okay? Then we have whereas or while, which is slightly formal, but not as formal as the others. We have despite or in spite of, if, even if, whether, on condition that, or unless. You know that unless is if not. After, before, as soon as, while, or until, because, since, as, to, so as to, in order that, or so that. Okay, these words have similar meanings, as you can see. Is this despite or in spite of, very similar. If, even if, or whether, on condition that, very similar. Because, since, or as, very similar. To, as to, in order that, also very similar. Okay, but all of these words, the things that they have in common is that they are very similar to the meaning of the word although. Okay, so like I mentioned before, I'm give you some words that are similar to but. These are some words that are similar to although. Okay, so again, you can use these words to avoid repetition. Okay, now when to use these words, you know that each word has uh, um, a different use. It will just be a fact of you. These are templates that you can use whenever you want to speak or write. Like I said, normally this formality is mostly used in written English, but it can also be used in spoken English, like I said, in meetings or formal reunions or when you talk to a boss. Next, now we're going to talk about words that are similar to however. Okay, When we want to add another point, we use the words also, as well as, in addition, besides, furthermore, slightly formal, moreover, more formal. Okay, this is when we want to add another point. Okay, then when we want to bring emphasis, or when we want to make contrast, we use the expressions however, even so, in spite of this, slightly formal, nevertheless, again, slightly formal. Okay, all these words are related to the word however. Okay, but again, when we want to add another point or another idea, also, as well as, in addition, besides, furthermore, moreover. When we want to emphasize on the contrast, we want to emphasize on the difference, we say however, even so, in spite of this, or nevertheless. Okay, now let's continue with some linking words. Okay, let's continue with some linking words here. Again, with however, when we want to use however, but we don't want to repeat and we're going to give a result. Okay, when we want to state the result, we're going to use the words therefore, as a result, for this reason, because of this, consequently. Okay, consequently is more formal. Okay, so again, when we want to give results and the idea is sort of however, then we're going to use these words. Therefore, as a result, for this reason, because of this, consequently. Okay, these are these are linking words again that will give the people who are listening the idea of you're going to give a result. We use all these words to prepare the listener. Okay, immediately if somebody says therefore, I know that somebody is going to give me a result. If somebody says something like for this reason, then that means that somebody is going to give me a result. Okay, so I don't need to say more. Immediately the listener is going to be prepared for what is coming next. Giving a cause. Okay, when you want to give a cause. So first we gave results. Now we're going to give causes. The expressions that are similar to however to give causes are because of, as a result of, owing to, or due to. Okay, these four expressions give prepare the listener to information of cause, of why something happens or why something occurred. Okay, or will occur. Because of, as a result of, owing to, and due to. Okay, so again, all of these words are related to the word however. The first are to give a result, and the second are to give a cause. Okay, so the reason and the result. Therefore, as a result, for this reason, because of this, and consequently are for results. Because of, as a result of, owing to, and due to are to give causes. Okay, again, like I said, these are templates that you can use in your speeches or your writings when you write an email, like we have been talking about in the last couple of classes, and you choose them depending on what you want to say. But again, you remember that a good speaker or a good writer avoids repetition. Okay, avoids repetition. So if you can avoid saying however, then it will be better than for you to say therefore, or for this reason, or consequently, if you want to give a result. Or instead of saying however, if you want to give a cause, then you can say because of, as a result of, or due to. Okay, remember that these are templates that we can use to make our speeches more professional, more polite, and when we want to give arguments. Okay, when we want to give fundaments to what we're saying. Okay, when we want to give solid basis to what we're saying. And then we have some words like however, when we want to list a point. Okay, for example, when we want to say first, second, then this, next, and finally. Okay, so we have expressions like first or firstly. Okay, first of all, to begin with, secondly, then, next, and finally. Okay, this is when we want to give order to what we're saying. Okay, again, all of these are to give when we state an argument. Okay, when we want to give. Okay, imagine I want to use three arguments to support my idea. Okay, so first, this, and this. Okay, Secondly, this reason and this reason. And finally, okay, so I'm pointing you, I'm giving you, I'm listing points, okay? Next, to talk in general, okay? Again, we have in general, on the whole, broadly speaking, in most or in many cases, to a great extent. This is when we're talking about general ideas, okay? And they basically all mean the same. They basically all mean the same. You decide which to use and when to use it during your speech or during your writing or your email. Okay, remember that all of these words are linking words and they connect ideas, okay? And they are related to, like I said before, but, although, and however, okay? And then finally, we have the last three linking words that relate to however. For example, when you want to balance an equal or contrasting idea, in contrast, or on the other hand, okay? These are expressions that you can use that are similar to however. Also, when you want to give examples, for example, for instance, or such as, okay? For example, for instance, or such as. And finally, to express a reality, when you want to express a fact. Okay, you can use the expressions in fact, as a matter of fact, actually, in reality, and to tell the truth. Okay, all these expressions, like I said before, are words that we can use to collocate, to connect, to express the ideas that we want to say with a clearer and a more factual way. Okay, like I said before, these, if you write or if you speak, it prepares the reader or the listener for the following information. If you tell me, if you say, imagine if you say, for instance, immediately I know that you're going to give me examples. If you say, in contrast, immediately I know you're going to give me opposite ideas. If you say, to tell the truth, immediately I know you're going to tell me a reality, something that everybody can see. Okay, the same happens with the expressions here. If you take first, then I know there's going to be a second and maybe a third, but there's definitely going to be a sequence. Nobody says first and doesn't say second or finally. It's impossible. That doesn't happen. Okay, so if you tell me first, I know that you're going to give me a list. Okay, or if you say to begin with, oh, to begin with, so he's going to tell me something in chronological order. Okay, so you are preparing your listener or your speaker to what you're going to say. Okay, if you're giving arguments and you say to begin with, oh, that means that he or she is going to give me more than one argument. Okay, so I'm preparing my listener and my reader to what comes next. Okay, and the second, when talking generally, in general, on the whole, again, I'm talking about general cases. Okay, so I know that you're not going to point out facts, you're just going to talk about general things. So all these words, the same happens here. For example, when we use however to give a result or cause, if you're giving me, okay, if you tell me something and you say all of a sudden, as a result of, oh, so now you're going to tell me what caused this. You're going to tell me what is the reason of this, what is the origin. But if you tell me for this reason, oh, he's going to tell me what happened. He's going to tell me what occurred. So even without me saying anything, the listener or the reader is going to prepare his mind to what's coming. And this is key. As a teacher, that's why there's a part during the class where what we call pre-teaching or we call the what happens before we enter the actual class. What happens is that we prepare our students for what's going to be taught. For example, if I'm going to talk about the past tense, for example, I start preparing my students talking about history. Hey, do you know who Miguel Grau was? Or let's talk about then Independence Week or whatever. So even though the topic might not be exact, his mind is thinking about things in the past. So his mind is getting, it's like warm up, right? It's like when you do an exercise. You know, if you go out to run immediately without warming up, you're going to have a cramp maybe, or you're going to have some physical problems. The same happens with speaking and with writing. If you give me a word that's going to prepare my mind to what's coming next, it's going to be easier for the listener or the reader to receive the information, to accept the information, to digest the information. Okay, so here's where the importance of the correct linking words comes into play. This happens here, right? If you tell me in addition, that means you're going to give me more. Moreover, oh, moreover, keep it coming, keep it coming. You're going to give me more information. But if you say, in spite of this, oh, he's going to tell me something opposite of what you just said. Interesting. What might it be? Or nevertheless, oh wow, what happened then? Nevertheless, something occurred that was the opposite of what you just told me. Okay, so your mind is prepared to receive the information. Again, here's where the importance of linking words come into play. Because if you tell me, in spite of, and you don't give me a contrasting information, then I'm going to be confused. Or for example, if you say in addition, and you don't give me more examples, I'm going to be confused. Okay, so it's important to know which words to use. The same with although. Okay, we said that although is for contrasting ideas. So if you don't give me a contrasting idea following any of these templates, then I'm going to be confused. I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to maybe not understand the topic completely. Maybe I am not going to believe completely what you're saying. Maybe I am going to disbelieve what you're saying because you're using the wrong words. So here's where the importance of linking words comes into play. First of all, they make your message more clear, they make it more acceptable, but also they make it more believable, okay? So if you use the correct linking words that are related to but, the correct linking words that are related to although, the correct linking words that are related to however for adding another point, for emphasizing on contrast, um, for giving a result, for giving a cause, for example, listing points or talking in general, and finally to balance an idea or give examples or to express reality. If you use them correctly, you will have your message, it will be easier to accept. Your arguments will be clearer to understand, okay? But if you don't use them correctly, you might confuse people. Okay, very good. So this has been a topic for today. Okay, the topic for next week is going to be some more keywords that you can use, a little bit more developing of how to develop an argument. And we will continue on the weekend. Okay, so if you don't have any other questions, if you have any questions, I'm listening. You know, remember that I can read you on in Zoom and in WhatsApp. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be reading you right now. No questions? No questions. Like I said, I can read you in Facebook and here in Zoom. If you have any questions, I will gladly answer them. Remember that the purpose of these lectures are to help you improve the way you communicate, the way you present, the way you argument, okay? And during your business lectures, your business presentations and meetings with colleagues or with your boss. Okay, so no questions? So remember that on Saturday in the morning at 9, we will continue with the topic of developing an argument linking words to, okay? Just to close this topic. If I appreciate you listening to us, I appreciate you attending to all the lectures that CAMEX gives you. Please remember to stay tuned for the following lecture because as we have lectures during the whole day. And they are all very fruitful and very helpful for your business experience. If that is all, then thank you again for your attention. My name is Carlos Martinez. Here is my contact information, WhatsApp, and my LinkedIn account. Okay, so I hope you have a great Wednesday, an even better Thursday, and I will see you on Saturday. I hope you have a great beginning of the month, and God bless. Please stay safe, stay at home if necessary, and if you go out, take all the necessary precautions. Okay, thank you very much, and God bless.